Guess who? Yes, it's me again. I don't really have a whole lot I want to say. Nothing major is on my heart right now. But I've been thinking about a lot of stuff, so I figured I'd just do a little montage of various issues and thoughts and ideas. So, yesterday I worked for 17 hours straight. I worked from 6:30 in the morning until 11:30 at night. Somewhere in there. And I hardly had a break at all. I ate only a bagel and a Wendy's cheeseburger, Junior Deluxe, the little dollar menu burger. And late in the day I had a mouthful of Spanish peanuts. And that's all I ate all day, and that was not enough to keep me going. So I worked for long hours. I worked at my cafe from 6:30 till 2, and then from there I went straight over to this town, Fort Mill, in South Carolina, to help this lady move. She said that she wanted to move a couple pieces of furniture. It was more than just a couple pieces of furniture. We needed a U-Haul truck. But we didn't have a U-Haul truck, so we just borrowed other people's trucks and packed them full of crap and moved them. And it took 8 hours. So anyway, I was exhausted, and I was exhausted all day today because I slept just enough to keep me going for the day, but not enough to really energize me. But it was okay, because I got paid with the whole deal yesterday, and it was nice, and I needed the money. So, anyway, here are a couple things that happened yesterday that I thought were interesting I wanted to talk about. First of all, and this happens fairly often, I was at work, and this kind of gothic punk girl comes in. She's been in there before, but I never really talked to her. She's a cool chick, from what I can tell anyway. And she and her boyfriend, or whoever it was, came in, and they bought some coffee or cigarettes or something, and they left. And then about 10 minutes later, she comes in by herself again. And she comes up to the counter, and she says, "I have a couple of friends outside who think you're hot, and they wanted to know if you happen to be interested in guys." And see, this kind of thing happens fairly frequently, at least once every 2 weeks or so. I've been propositioned for gay sex, I've been propositioned for dating, I've been offered jobs as a male dancer. This one guy thought I was basically a go-go boy at this S&M nightclub here in Charlotte. And so that was, when this happens, at first it's kind of flattering. People thinking I'm hot, people thinking I could make it as a go-go boy. And, people thinking, I look good. But after a while, it starts to get a little bit irritating and frustrating, because here I am, a guy, straight male, who admits that I have SSA, that's same-sex attraction, for those of you who don't realize what that stands for. And people still think I'm gay. And people don't really assume I'm straight right off the bat. So, anyway, it's like fighting an uphill battle in society. But here's what really made it funny. Yesterday when I was working and that incident happened, this is what I was wearing at work. I was wearing that t-shirt when she asked me if I'm gay. And I just looked at her and I said, "No, I'm straight." See the big letters? And she looked at it and she's like, "Oh, loud and clear." And she turned around and left. And I looked at God up in the big expanse of heaven, and I looked at him and I said, "You think this is funny, don't you?" And he laughed and said, "Yeah." Because he knew that I wasn't hurt by it at all, and so he just laughed and thought it was hilarious. And I kind of laughed with him afterwards. And I guess later on in the day I got a little bit frustrated with other things, and I thought back to that, and it irritated me again. I got pissed off at it, but all in all, I wasn't too hurt by it. I thought it was kind of funny. So, yeah. So anyway, I went to go help this lady move, and my dad was helping me also, and this other girl, who was renting an apartment from this lady, we were all helping her move. So, I was talking to my dad, and told him everything that I had experienced that day, and such as that. My dad's really cool. We used to have a really distant relationship. He was not emotionally open at all, but ever since my mom left last year, my dad and I have really pushed to get a better relationship with each other, and we do now. It's a very good relationship, and I thank God for it. So anyway, by the end of the day I was exhausted. I had worked something like 15, 16 straight hours. The day was almost over. It was dark outside. And I was talking to God at first. And I said, God, I don't want to work like this for the rest of my life. I don't want to work like a dog. I don't want to live day to day working hard manual labor just to make enough money to get by. And then God said, consider this a kind of passage, a kind of test of my manhood. And then I thought of my dad. My dad has worked hard manual labor his whole life. And I was not raised in an affluent household. We were pretty much poor, or on the verge of legal poverty my whole life. And so I asked my dad later, Dad, how did you do it? How did you do it all these years, working so hard? You know, he used to work 12, 13-hour days every day. Bitter cold, blistering heat, it didn't matter. He'd go out there and work like a dog. And he said that the best years of his life were spent working like a dog because he knew that he was working to provide for his wife and 2 sons. And that made me feel special inside. And I want to have a wife and kids one day. And so I guess yesterday working 17 hours was a good preparation time, because there might come a time in my life when I have a family that I will have to work like that to provide for them. And I need to be willing and able to do it without complaining, without slacking off, because I will have people who depend on my hard work. So yeah, I kept working and I finished the day and I did it well. Now I've worked hard other times in my life too. I mean, I grew up with my dad being a contractor working hard manual labor, so I had to get used to working hard with him. So I've done it off and on my whole life, so I know what it is to work a long, hard day every day for weeks at a time. But yesterday was a good test again. So I thank God for that. But now I'm really tired. But I've learned a new lesson, or at least I've grown in that lesson that He's been teaching me, to work hard, to be faithful, and to be a man. So, I'm happy. So anyway, I just wanted to say all that, and thank you all for watching my videos, and I love you much, and yes, many blessings to you.